So the United States has just launched an airstrike on Iran's backed Houthi rebels. This is something that is going to escalate tensions in the region. Now, we don't know exactly why the United States did this, especially at this time, but according to reports, it's the United States and the UK that did this together. Today we're going to address what's going on, but again, this is breaking news. This has just happened over the last hour or so. So again, I'm going to break all this down, what's going on, what we should expect moving forward, and everything in between. So all I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates, and now let's begin. So first off, let's get right down to it. It says, this is from the Associated Press, U.S. launches airstrikes by fighter jets and ships on Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels. Okay, why did they do this? Well, in order to really understand that, let's listen to this for a second. Let's listen to what's actually going on. Listen to this.
U.S. airstrikes from warplanes as well as from the sea just struck about a dozen sites inside Yemen, targeting Houthi strongholds.
So right there, targeting Houthi strongholds. Now, I want to show you this right here. Look at this. It says U.S. military says it hit 15 Houthi targets in Yemen. Biden says Israel should not strike Iran oil sites. It says strikes were targeted at weapon systems, bases, and other equipment. Now, here's the reason why this is such a big deal. Iran is likely going to continue to target Israel. They're also going to continue to target U.S. ships. Now, here's the problem. The United States is trying to get out of this conflict. But at the same time, by trying to get out of this conflict, we are putting ourselves further into it. Now, I want to show you this, okay? This is just to give you an idea of what it's looking like. Look at this, okay? This right here is what it's looking like over in Yemen, okay? These are the reports that we're getting. This is the problem. We are going to continue to see attacks like this. And again, it's not slowing down. This is something that will likely continue for a while. But why? Well, according to reports, the tensions that are going on over in the Middle East are likely going to hurt the Biden administration in the upcoming election. Many countries want the Biden administration out of office. Other countries want them in. So this is why we get conflicting reports. This is why we see the United States say something and do something completely different, is because we're seeing right now that certain countries are affecting the upcoming election. And President Biden said himself that he doesn't think that Israel is attempting to alter the election. But again, he doesn't know for sure. Now, I want to read you some things. Okay, look at this. It says, here's more from Joe Biden's briefing at the White House, during which he told reporters that he would consider alternatives to striking Iranian oil fields if he were in Israel's shoes. It says, asked if he thought that not engaging in diplomacy, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was trying to influence the upcoming U.S. general election. President Biden replied, whether he is trying to influence the election, I don't know, but I'm not counting on that. And he added that no administration has done more to help Israel than he has. Okay. Now, what is going on? Because all we see over the past, few weeks is an attack on Lebanon, an attack from Lebanon or Hezbollah to Israel, and then we saw Iran launch over 180 ballistic missiles into Israel. That was a huge concern. Yes, Israel's Iron Dome, alongside of the U.S. Ships in the area, were able to shoot down the majority of those ballistic missiles, but at the same time, not without a single casualty. And that's the issue, is that we are going to see increased casualties here in the near future. We are already hearing about this increase in tensions that are likely going to turn into a war. But this is my question. How far do these countries have to go before we actually call this a war. We're calling the conflicts with Russia and Ukraine a war, but why aren't we calling the conflicts with Hezbollah and Israel? Why aren't we calling that a war? Why weren't we calling the issues with Israel and Gaza or Hamas? Why aren't we calling that a war? That's the big question. I don't know. And now we're seeing all these additional attacks and these threats, and not just from Iran to Israel, but Iran to the United States. Iran and Russia to the United States, to Israel, to Ukraine. Tensions are just increasing. This is why some experts say we haven't been this close to World War III ever. This is the closest we have been to World War III in our history. That's concerning. Now, we've also heard from the FBI Director Christopher Wray. We've heard from Homeland Security as well, and that they have been warning the American people of a potential attack here on U.S. soil. All these increased tensions over in the Middle East are only increasing the chance that we see an attack here on U.S. soil. We've seen the United States send troops up to Alaska to protect Alaska in case Russia attempts to overtake Alaska or try to attack us in some way. Now, I don't think they're going to do that, but at the same time, I was saying this just hours before we saw on the news last week that a Russian fighter jet flew past a U.S. Airplane. It was about 50 feet off of it. Just went flying past it. Again, if this isn't a way to escalate things, I don't know what is. Now, I want to read you a little bit of this article. Okay, look at this. It says military aircraft and warships bombed Houthi strongholds at roughly 5 locations, according to officials. It says Houthi media said 7 strikes hit the airport of Hodeidah, a major port city, and the Khatib area, which has a Houthi-controlled military base. 4 more strikes hit the Sayana area in Sana'a, the capital, and 2 strikes hit the Damar province. The Houthi media office also reported 3 air raids in Beta province southeast of Sana'a. Says the strikes come just days after the Houthis threatened escalating military operations targeting Israel after they apparently shot down a U.S. military drone flying over Yemen. And just last week, the group claimed responsibility for an attack targeting American warships. Okay, here's something I think is interesting. The Yemen Houthis shot down a U.S. military drone. That drone, according to reports, cost about $32 million. That is a big loss for the United States. It also goes on to say, the rebels fired more than half a dozen ballistic missiles and anti-ship cruise missiles and 2 drones at 3 U.S. ships that were traveling through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, but all were intercepted by the Navy destroyers, according to several U.S. officials. Again, we continue to see these attacks. Now, we're not losing lives yet or recently, but all it takes is one attack. All it takes is one ballistic missile, one drone, one bomb, and we could lose 1 life. That's when the United States will likely step in. But here's the issue. And again, I've been talking about this for years. The Biden administration is doing everything they can just to hold on to their current seats. So President Biden, Democrats in the House, the Senate, they're just trying to hold on. The worst thing that they could go through right now is an escalation of conflicts. Okay, this escalation of war. If we see that we are getting closer and closer to a war, this is only going to help the Republican Party. This is going to hurt President Biden and the Biden administration. It's going to hurt, incoming Democrats. It's not going to be a good look. So we're going to see what happens, but I wanted to bring this to you because, again, this just happened within the past hour. We're going to get more reports on this very soon. As we do, I promise I will keep you up to date on all the latest news and updates. But again, as of today, that is what we know. So thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.